because his granny's from Gorey.
Yeah.
So I The Shape of You, and the other one I kind of like is Adele, Someone Like You. So I like these, and I never had much emotional torment in terms of I'm married to the same woman for 40 years, and I kind of was going out with her for 4 years before that. And so therefore I haven't the angst that is underwriting these lyrics of pain and parting and all this kind of good stuff. So at the end of the day, but I actually find a kind of melancholy with some of those.
They're very melancholy, emotional type of songs for Mr. Tough Yates.
Absolutely. And so you asked me what I like, that's what I like.
And you go teary-eyed, do you?
No.
Now, looking back in your life then, Ivan, and you say where you are now compared to where you were when you left Columbus at 16, went to Gortine or wherever it was, does that make sense to you? Can you draw a line of how you got there?
So my father died 24th of February 1979.
Yeah.
And I suddenly realised, hey, you've no educational qualifications. You've no income. I was on a tenner a week. And this inheritance lark that you came home for, this £1 million asset of 165 acres and a lovely house, my mother lived for another 40 years and needed all the income from the farm. So I suddenly realised, what? I have no basis to do anything. Jesus, Ivan, you better get up early. You better work hard. You better stay out late at night and do something useful. And I found politics then, and politics led me ultimately to business and led me to media and so on. But I've always taken the view as an early school leaver, Jesus, Ivan, you better learn something new today because fuck all, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's what I mean by attitude and so on. And all the businesses I went into.
But that's fascinating to me. You talk to me as if somebody, EBITDA, that's all learned. That's all acquired knowledge.
Yeah, and sorry, let's be clear. When I went into politics, I was a complete interloper. All the people who were sons and daughters and nephews and nieces of incumbents said, sorry, what's this guy doing in politics?
Yeah.
When I went into bookmaking, Paddy Power and all Stuart Kenny and all the people who had been, the Power family and so on, who had been in, what's this interloper doing? Yeah. And then when I went into media, this guy's not a journalist. He's had no training in journalism. In fact, he disrespects journalism.
Was being Church of Ireland or was that help being an outsider?
The great thing about being Church of Ireland was, this kind of thing that if you get the reputation for being hardworking, you can stay in bed all day. The thing about being Church of Ireland, the Protestants are very honest. People assume that I was a person of the utmost integrity because they knew Proddies were very tweedy and all that, but they were incredibly honest to their own detriment. Yeah. And so, needless to say, I traded out on all of that. And basically, so that was a huge asset to me. Yeah. And I got about two, I used to say I needed 5 Catholic votes for every Protestant vote. But it was confined to 2.5. But it was a good start and it was a help and all that kind of thing. And it wasn't in any way sectarian. It was just an identity thing. But at the end of the day, being a Protestant was a point of difference and a huge asset to me.
And parenting skills. Do you want to talk about those? Your parenting skills?
I covered this in the book as well.
I believe very good at changing nappies.
So situation is, the Irish Times, Jen O'Connell was doing a series on it, and I did an interview. And actually then when she went to go do a podcast, she got reached for me first, because I was the only one who sort of belled the cat and said, never changed a nappy, don't want to change a nappy, the shit and the smell of everything. And so what I do, or say getting up in the middle of the night when they be crying, I nudge Deirdre. The great thing about cooking and ironing and all things, do it crap. Do it so badly that anyone else will step into the breach to do it themselves because you're just so chronically bad. If you actually develop any attributes to do this stuff, you'll have to do more of it. So we had a simple equation. Deirdre, I'll make the money, you raise the kids. But I also would say the tragedy of parenting is, so the first 6 weeks are the worst. Yeah. And then the first 6 months, and they're completely dependent on you. They sleep intermittently every 4 hours, all that. But it all gets better. And it gets better to the point when they're 5 or 7, it gets really better. And then you can actually talk to them and relate to them. And it's just
as I said, they become people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it just gets more rewarding, and you learn from them, and you give and take, and there's setbacks and rocks on the road and things they don't understand, things you don't understand in terms of their modern cultures and all of that. But that is all life enhancing. But up to 3, they don't remember a bloody thing. There's no such thing as gratitude. Like I visited a relative of mine, an in-law of mine, and they were very ill in hospital. And to be honest with you, between Spain and everything, 7 weeks elapsed that I hadn't visited him. And he'd actually come out of a coma. Wow. And he remembers nothing of the 7 weeks. And I feel like that with children. Yeah. Like all the work you do for them, there's no gratitude because they don't remember any of it. No, but my thing about parenting is, my default position is ask Deirdre. Deirdre has been a saint in terms of she's good at parenting. She's a good mother. She has rock of common sense. She disciplines them. She was a teacher herself, and she's good at it, and she's a very good homemaker. And the difference between a house and a home is Deirdre for me. And so basically... And
she's been a sounding board for you over the years.
Oh, not only that, sounding board. Yeah. She said, what the fuck did you say? Isn't that ridiculous? I never, I could defend Trump or something. She'd go berserk. She's not into politics. But I can tell, even last night, there was thing Larry Goodman. Why are you getting yourself into this? It was 30 years ago and 40 years ago. And my attitude to all of the controversy is, you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. Do you really? If you want to be utterly bland and boring, you will be completely disregarded. If, what sells in this country, no matter what it is, and write this down, Rossa, what sells is difference. If you're selling the same insurance, the same financial service, the same healthcare service as everyone else, it won't sell. What is your point of difference? And if you can't authentically say what your difference is and explain it and articulate it to your staff and to yourself and to your customers, you are going nowhere. And tell you what, if you don't have a point of difference, go find one. And so therefore, it never bothered me, people disagreeing with me, because I try and be agreeable. I always try and play the ball rather than the person. So I'm not going to fall out with you over this, Rossa, but I just think you're talking nonsense.
No. Last question. If somebody wanted to go into politics now at 21, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, follow your dream. If you really want to be a politician, and I do mentor young people and I do encourage them, whatever it is, if it's curling, if it's whatever, if it's remunerative or if it's a waste of time, like I say, people don't do an arts degree. Where are you going to get a job unless you want to be a teacher and all of that good stuff? So you give advice, but what I would say to anyone is follow your dream. But I tell you what, just be prepared. Politics is the roughest, harshest 24/7 business. If someone rings you on a Sunday morning, says, I want to talk to you about my housing problem, my planning problem, my welfare problem, 101 problems. You are a public servant. And you've got to be very humble. You've got to have the patience of a saint. And the day you think you can do a shortcut and not do that, you're finished. So, and I reached that point around the millennium. I said, there's nothing more I want to do or learn about this. I want out. And I always said in my 20s, I'll get out of politics at 40. And everyone said, that's daft. Now it's quite de rigueur. A lot of people do it. It's something you do for 20 years of your life. You give it your best and you learn from it and apply it to other sectors. And I now see a whole, from Brian Hayes to a whole rate, 23 Fine Gael TDs left of last night. And they're all looking for new careers. They can't all be public affairs advisors. Yeah. But you know what? There's the skills you learn, the people skills you learn in politics. And you do that through a battering of people abusing you for mistakes you make. So you learn kind of not to be shy, not to be timid. You learn how to listen acutely. You learn how to make small talk and all those kind of skills. They are really valuable skills in other walks of life.
When's the book out?
So it's out in the autumn. Gill Publications. The manuscript is completed. So, when I wrote the 170,000 words in Swans, 60,000 words had to be taken out, like Terry Proner's work.